Inside a garage, Charlie is repairing a small plane that his wife, Sarah, gave him as a birthday gift. Sarah interrupts him and explains that she will soon be leaving for a business conference in London. She invites Charlie to join her again, but he refuses, saying he has too much work to handle. Later, Charlie arrives at CIA headquarters. On his way to the decryption and analysis department, he passes through multiple security scanners that he personally designed before finally starting his work. Suddenly, he receives a message from Inquilin, a mysterious contact he has been communicating with for years. As usual, Inquilin offers highly classified intelligence, but this time warns that the documents could endanger the CIA itself. Charlie attempts to guess Inquilin's location and says Istanbul, but Inquilin dismisses the guess. Charlie begins analyzing the files, yet even someone as brilliant as him cannot break the encryption. After his lunch break, he returns to his office and receives a call from Sarah, who tells him she has already arrived in London. Charlie already knows this because he has been tracking her movements. Their conversation is brief, as Charlie is eager to return to the mysterious files. Unable to crack the code, Charlie moves his computer into a restricted area where a more advanced system is available. After hours of work, he finally unlocks the files, and the contents leave him stunned. The documents reveal top-secret government records showing that a drone strike was disguised as a self-deletion bombing and deliberately covered up. News footage inside the files reports 150 casualties, including French Special Forces and Danish Marines. The operation was authorized and managed by Chief Moore, who also happens to be Charlie's boss. That night, Charlie tries calling Sarah, but she does not answer, so he leaves her a voicemail. The following day, Charlie arrives at work and is shocked to find Moore waiting for him. Moore escorts him to the office of O'Brien, who was recently appointed as director. She informs Charlie that a terrorist attack occurred at a hotel in London and that Sarah was among the victims. Charlie refuses to accept this and insists on calling Sarah. Moore turns on the television to show the news report instead. The reporter explains that 4 terrorists stormed the hotel, took 4 hostages, and killed 2 of them. Moore then plays the hotel's security footage, which shows the chaos of the attack and confirms Sarah's presence during the incident. When Charlie returns home, he finds dozens of reporters outside, while police struggle to keep them under control. A friend helps Charlie enter the house without facing the media. The next day, Charlie confronts Moore and Supervisor Caleb as he grows increasingly suspicious of the entire situation. He cannot believe that terrorists could bypass thousands of security cameras across London, especially while driving through normal traffic. Moore assures Charlie that the matter is under investigation, but Caleb orders him to go home. The next day, Charlie goes to the airport to receive Sarah's body, along with her personal belongings. Back at home, he opens her suitcase and discovers a gift she had bought for him, causing him to completely break down. Unable to stay at home any longer, Charlie returns to work and uses a restricted computer to access the hotel's security cameras and nearby street footage. He reconstructs a detailed timeline of the events and presents it to his superiors. The 4 attackers stole a vehicle in the East End and entered the hotel through a service entrance, where they carefully erased all fingerprints and DNA. According to the footage, they were supposed to meet representatives from Impact Investments, an Indonesian firm, but something went wrong. An argument broke out in the corridor, and one of the company's security guards lost his temper. In response, one of the attackers opened fire, killing 1 guard and leaving another critically injured. Hotel security was immediately alerted and contacted the police. Trying to escape without being captured, the attackers rushed into a conference room and took several hostages. Sarah was captured after she attempted to help hotel staff escape. Charlie runs voice and facial recognition analysis and successfully identifies all 4 attackers. They are Mishka from Moscow, Lawrence, a former South African Special Forces operative, Horst, a mercenary, and Gretchen, a former intelligence officer. When Charlie notices the lack of reaction from Moore and Caleb, he realizes they already knew this information. They tell him the situation is being handled and force him to see a therapist. The following day, Charlie secretly hides a chip inside his ID badge and passes through security without triggering the scanners. Inside his office, he prints all the classified documents and uses a skimmer on the printer to create a digital copy. That night, Charlie goes to a bar and silently stares at a jukebox. The next morning, he confronts his superiors once again, this time using the printed files as evidence. He lists Moore's illegal operations, including bombing a hospital in Syria and attacking an allied base in Yemen, actions that resulted in thousands of civilian deaths. Charlie threatens to expose everything to the director and reveals that he has activated a dead man's switch. If he fails to enter a code every 5 hours, all the evidence will be automatically sent to major news organizations. In exchange for his silence, Charlie demands full CIA training, fake passports, cash, a weapon, and complete intelligence on Sarah's killers. After the meeting, Charlie returns to his car and vomits due to the overwhelming stress. Back in the office, Moore insists the dead man's switch is a bluff, but Caleb argues that they cannot take the risk. They decide to search for the trigger, and if it turns out to be fake, they plan to stage a fatal accident during Charlie's training. Later, Caleb and his team begin investigating how Charlie managed to copy the classified files. They consider the possibility of a skimmer, which would not work on secured computers but could be used on a printer. Charlie could have sent the files to the printer and used a magnetic strip to copy the data. After After reviewing security footage, they confirm that Charlie purchased a magnetic strip at a store, but they still cannot determine how he carried it in and out of the building. The team also searches Charlie's house and eventually discovers that he visited the same bar twice. They go to the bar to investigate and find an ABBA CD hidden beneath the jukebox. Caleb selects that CD from the jukebox catalog, but only static noise plays. They remove the CD that Charlie left behind. Meanwhile, Charlie arrives at a CIA training facility where he is welcomed by Colonel Henderson. They begin at the shooting range, but Charlie performs poorly as a shooter. He has to stand very close to the target to hit the correct spot. However, when it comes to building explosives, Charlie works exceptionally fast and impresses Henderson. Next, Charlie must memorize his new identity. Henderson aggressively pressures him and throws him around, forcing Charlie to repeat his new details even under extreme stress. Finally, his new passports are completed. That night, Henderson visits Charlie's room and tells him that he is not a killer. Charlie responds that he is not seeking revenge but justice. Henderson pulls out a gun and hands it to Charlie, asking him to aim at his chest. Charlie's hands shake uncontrollably, and he eventually lowers the weapon. Back at the office, agents spend hours decrypting the data on the CD. They eventually discover that Charlie was bluffing about the dead man's switch. They immediately report this to their superiors, unaware that Charlie is secretly listening in. The chip Charlie hid in his badge turns out to be a tracking bug planted on the files he gave his bosses. Moore quickly calls Henderson and orders him to arrest Charlie, but Charlie has already escaped. After ending the call, Moore finally notices the bug on the files and speaks directly to Charlie, accusing him of treason. Charlie removes his earpiece before boarding a plane. Once he arrives in London, he passes through customs and begins traveling toward Paris. When Charlie's fake passport appears in the CIA system, Moore sends Henderson after him. In Paris, Charlie rents a hotel room near a restaurant where Gretchen is often seen. When she finally appears, she gets close enough for Charlie to start tracking her phone. Charlie spends the day watching her building and waits until she leaves. When another tenant exits, Charlie uses the opportunity to slip inside. He follows an online tutorial to pick the lock to Gretchen's apartment. Inside, Charlie searches the place and photographs Gretchen's schedule. He also finds a gun in a drawer and decides to keep it. At that moment, his tracker alerts him that Gretchen is returning. Charlie rushes to the stairwell and waits for her arrival. However, when she finally comes home, Charlie cannot pull the trigger. Feeling defeated, he rushes back to his hotel room and pretends that Sarah is waiting for him there. After calming himself, he carefully studies the photos and realizes that Gretchen frequently visits a hospital. By hacking into her medical records, he discovers that she suffers from severe allergies. The next morning, Charlie buys a large number of flowers. He waits at a cafe until he spots Gretchen, then follows her to the hospital. While Gretchen undergoes medical tests, the doctor notices that the computer system is malfunctioning and leaves the room to seek assistance. Charlie enters disguised as a doctor and locks Gretchen inside the testing machine. She begins to panic, but Charlie ignores her and fills the chamber with pollen. A doctor and a nurse hear the noise, but the door is locked from the inside. As Gretchen grows weaker due to her allergies, Charlie tells her he will help if she reveals Horst's location, the man who shot Sarah. Unable to speak because of the allergic reaction, Gretchen cannot answer. Charlie opens the chamber, but Gretchen suddenly shoves him against a desk. They fight violently across the room, crashing into furniture and equipment. Charlie pulls out his gun, but Gretchen overpowers him, opens the door, and escapes. Desperate, Charlie chases her into the street, but before he can shoot, a car strikes Gretchen. Shocked by the sight, Charlie forces himself to approach the body and takes her phone. He then runs away and throws the lab coat into the trash. Back at the hotel, Charlie washes the blood off his hands and packs his belongings. That night, he goes to the bus station and buys a ticket to Marseille. Soon after, news of Gretchen's death reaches the CIA. O'Brien questions more about the incident, and he responds that Gretchen appears to have been killed by one of their own operatives. That night, Charlie goes to a bar and drinks heavily, trying to numb the guilt he feels over Gretchen's death. For a moment, he thinks he sees Sarah dancing, but on closer look, it is only a woman who resembles her. Charlie then notices Henderson approaching and panics. He pushes through the crowd, escapes the bar, and runs through the streets until he finds another place to hide. Henderson follows him there as well. Charlie rushes into the bathroom and locks the door. With no windows to escape through, Charlie is forced to come out. He joins Henderson at the bar and learns that Henderson tracked him using Gretchen's phone. After a brief conversation, Charlie shows a countdown timer on his phone and runs out. Moments later, a bomb explodes in the bathroom. Panic erupts in the bar, and Henderson loses sight of Charlie. The tracking signal on Charlie's phone also stops working. The next morning, Charlie contacts Inquilin and asks for help. He boards a cargo plane and heads to Turkey. In Istanbul, Charlie goes to a restaurant and messages Inquilin. When he hears a phone ringing nearby, he approaches the man holding it. Before he can reach him, a woman steps in and tells Charlie to check his own phone. Charlie leaves the restaurant, and the woman approaches him again, confirming confirming that she is Inquilin. She already knows about his wife, so she makes him hide his hat and backpack inside a shopping bag. Inquilin tells Charlie to pretend he is shopping for a while and instructs him to meet her at a nearby garage. Moments later, Charlie meets her again, and she drives him to her home. During the drive, Inquilin reveals that she became a hacker 6 years earlier after her husband died. Her husband was a CIA asset who secretly worked with Russian intelligence. He was the original Inquilin and taught her everything she knows. According to the official report, he accidentally fell from a window. When they arrive at her home, Inquilin explains that it is the only place where she has managed to stay for more than 3 years. She admits that she is exhausted from constantly running. She adds that if the Russians ever come for her, she keeps a gun to end her own life. They then shift their focus to discussing the case. Horst is identified as the leader responsible for hiring mercenaries for more. Lawrence is an arms dealer, so Inquilin offers to pose as a weapons seller in order to contact him. Mishka is the last target, and he travels frequently while posting his movements online. They carefully examine his photos and notice a woman appearing with him. Using facial recognition, they track her to an Instagram account and confirm that she is currently in Spain. The next day, Caleb orders his team to monitor the terrorists closely in hopes of locating Charlie. Meanwhile, O'Brien meets with Moore and demands that he stop running secret operations without her approval. Moore responds that her predecessor gave him the same warning. He tells her the same thing he said before, claiming that she has his full support. After the meeting, O'Brien gets into her car, where her assistant shows her a photo of Henderson in Spain. It is confirmed that Moore sent him, so O'Brien dispatches one of her own agents to follow him. At the same time, Charlie and Inquilin locate Mishka by hacking into a hotel's security cameras. Charlie travels to Madrid and checks into the same hotel as Mishka. He learns that Mishka enjoys swimming in a rooftop pool that connects 2 buildings. Meanwhile, Henderson tracks Charlie's location in the same area. The following day, Charlie begins constructing a device designed to trap Mishka and hides it inside the hotel. Later, he follows Mishka to the bar, unaware that Henderson is watching from the lobby. Charlie notices a suspicious man at the bar and realizes he has seen him before, confirming that he is being followed. He alerts Inquilin through his earpiece, and she runs facial recognition to confirm the man is a CIA agent. She also spots Henderson on the security cameras and tells Charlie to abort the mission. Despite the warning, Charlie insists on continuing with the plan. When Mishka heads to the pool, Charlie confronts him and demands to know Horst's location. He warns Mishka that if he refuses to talk, the pool will be destroyed. Mishka does not believe the threat and swims away. Charlie presses a button, and the glass walls of the pool begin to crack. A panicked Mishka swims faster, but it is already too late. The glass shatters, and he falls to his death as water pours into the street below. Inquilin immediately warns Charlie that Henderson and another agent are closing in and guides him toward an escape route. A chase begins and Henderson nearly catches Charlie. At that moment, the other agent intervenes and attacks Henderson. The 2 agents crash into a laundry room and begin fighting violently. Charlie watches as they slam each other into machines and walls. Henderson forces the agent's head into a washing machine. The agent pulls out a gun and shoots Henderson. Henderson manages to take the weapon and shoots the agent in return. Charlie steps inside, unsure whether he should intervene. Inquilin urges him to leave immediately, and he runs. The next day, O'Brien summons Moore to her office and questions him about Charlie. Moore claims that Charlie is on bereavement leave, and O'Brien dismisses him. After Moore leaves, O'Brien reveals that she has obtained security footage from the hotel. Meanwhile, Caleb and his team review the same footage and realize that Charlie had outside help. They analyze Charlie's encrypted communications and eventually uncover messages linked to Inquilin. After an extensive search, they find the file of the deceased agent known as Inquilin and conclude that his wife took over his role. That night, Charlie and Inquilin decide to sleep next to each other for comfort. They are suddenly awakened by the loud screeching of Inquilin's birds. Checking the security cameras, they see multiple agents approaching the house. The pair quickly escape through a hidden tunnel inside the wall. As they flee, Charlie notices a drone hovering above them. By slipping into another building, they manage to stay ahead and leave the area just before agents raid the house. The computer begins deleting all remaining files, leaving nothing behind. After sprinting along the beach, they reach Inquilin's car, but the drone spots them. Agents pursue them while firing, even following them by boat. After a prolonged chase, the car is badly damaged and forced to stop. Inquilin is critically wounded during the escape. With no other option, Charlie moves her into the passenger seat and takes control of the car. He continues driving until he finally loses the pursuers. Later, he parks the car in a garage and says goodbye to Inquilin with a kiss. The next day, Charlie contacts Lawrence and pretends to be an arms dealer to arrange a meeting. He purchases new electronic devices and travels to Romania. Inside an abandoned building, Charlie records his own face and hacks into a security feed in Berlin. The CIA now now believes he is in Berlin and sends their agents there. When Lawrence finally arrives at the meeting spot, he finds a phone ringing on a chair. Charlie instructs him to open a nearby box. Inside, Lawrence discovers several bombs. If Lawrence makes a single move, the bombs will detonate. As he notices a photo of Sarah inside the box, Charlie appears behind him and demands Horst's location. Charlie promises to deactivate the explosives if Lawrence cooperates. Lawrence explains that Horst operates in Russian waters and usually receives shipments at a Baltic seaport. When Charlie asks how to contact Horst, Lawrence says communication only happens through coded messages sent by his men. All the names and numbers are stored on his phone, which he throws onto the floor. Charlie picks up the phone and walks away. Moments later, he hears the bombs explode, killing Lawrence in the other room. Soon, the CIA receives news of Lawrence's death in Romania and realizes they were tracking fake footage. Later, inside a Russian hotel room, Charlie imagines Sarah beside him and opens her gift. It turns out to be a puzzle, which he solves quickly. Inside, he finds a loving message from his wife. The next morning, Charlie heads to the port and notices a suspicious vehicle. He sends a coded message to Horst's men and sees a man near the vehicle check his phone. Charlie follows him, photographs his boat, and then leaves the area. After purchasing several tools, he returns to the hotel. Using the boat's registration number, Charlie tracks down the yacht it belongs to. He also studies the possible sea routes Horst might be using. The following morning, Charlie approaches the boat, but someone attacks him from behind. He is knocked unconscious and drops Sarah's puzzle on the ground. Charlie wakes up on the yacht, where he finally meets Horst. Horst reveals that he discovered the bomb Charlie planted earlier. Horst believes Charlie is capable of indirect killings, but not face-to-face execution. He hands Charlie a gun and challenges him to prove it. Charlie cannot pull the trigger and lowers the weapon. Suddenly, the yacht changes direction and the crew panics. Charlie reveals that he has taken control of the vessel. The yacht is managed by CIA systems, and Charlie helped design its security protocols. Using his knowledge, he hacked the controls and redirected the yacht toward Finland. Soon, the Finnish Navy and Interpol surround the vessel. Horst and his men are arrested immediately. Sometime later, O'Brien holds a press conference announcing the arrest of all corrupt agents who abused CIA resources for illegal operations. Henderson approaches Charlie and tells him he is proud of what he accomplished. After visiting Sarah's grave, Charlie returns home. At last, he takes the plane into the sky and flies again. If you enjoyed this movie explanation, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with others who love powerful action stories.